A Boeing 777 carrying 239 souls climbs through the night sky over Southeast Asia. The pilots report their position to Malaysian Air Traffic Control for the final time. Within minutes, the aircraft vanishes from civilian radar screens. It is March 8, 2014, and the world is about to witness aviation's most confounding mystery. Flight MH370 disappears without a distress call or explanation. Nobody knows where it goes. The plane turns sharply west over the South China Sea. Satellite data captures the aircraft crossing back over Malaysia. Military radar tracks the Boeing as it flies toward the Andaman Sea. Then the signal becomes intermittent. Hourly handshakes between the aircraft and an Inmarsat satellite continue until 8:19 a.m. The final transmission suggests the plane flies deep into the southern Indian Ocean. After that, only silence remains. Something catastrophic happens in those dark hours above the ocean. The 239 passengers board with ordinary hopes and plans. Chinese families travel to Beijing for reunions and celebrations. Malaysian business people carry contracts and proposals in their briefcases. A group of artists returns home from an exhibition. Children clutch stuffed animals and coloring books. Young couples plan their futures together. Elderly parents visit their children abroad. Each person has a destination and dreams waiting on the other side of this routine flight. Among them sits a newlywed couple beginning their honeymoon journey. A mother travels with her young sons to meet family. Engineers and technicians head to important meetings. Students return to universities after vacation. Every seat holds someone loved and missed. Every passenger expects to land safely in Beijing within hours. None of them suspects this flight will become their final moment. The families will wait for news that never brings closure. Within hours, every life aboard becomes part of the greatest aviation mystery in history. Air traffic controllers in Kuala Lumpur lose contact with MH370 at 1:21 a.m. The transponder stops broadcasting the plane's position and altitude. Vietnamese controllers expect the flight to enter their airspace, but it never appears. Malaysian military radar detects an unidentified aircraft crossing the peninsula westbound. Officials do not immediately connect this target to the missing passenger jet. Precious hours pass before anyone realizes the plane has changed course. By the time authorities understand what happens, the aircraft has already vanished into the night. Search teams initially focus on the South China Sea along the planned route. Ships and aircraft from multiple nations scan the water surface. Days go by without finding any debris or oil slicks. Satellite analysis then reveals the shocking truth about the westward turn. Investigators realize they have been searching in completely the wrong location. The operation shifts thousands of kilometers to the Indian Ocean. The search area expands to an almost impossible size. How can an entire Boeing 777 simply vanish in the modern age of surveillance?
Families gather at Beijing airport, waiting for loved ones who will never arrive. Malaysian authorities provide conflicting information and contradictory timelines. International search teams deploy ships and submarines to scan the ocean floor. Underwater terrain proves treacherous, with deep trenches and underwater mountains. Technology pushes its limits in the depths. Month after month, the search continues, with no confirmed wreckage. Hope fades, but determination remains. The ocean guards its secret, somewhere in the darkness below. The search eventually covers more than 120,000 square kilometers of seabed. Sonar equipment maps previously uncharted ocean floor in extraordinary detail.
The operation becomes the most expensive aviation search in history. In 2017, the official search ends without locating the main wreckage. Private companies offered to continue the hunt. Ocean Infinity launches a new search using autonomous underwater vehicles. Still, the plane eludes every attempt at discovery. Debris begins washing ashore on islands and beaches across the Indian Ocean. A flaperon appears on Reunion Island in July 2015. Investigators confirm it comes from a Boeing 777. Additional pieces arrive on Madagascar and Mozambique coastlines. Experts analyze barnacles and metal fatigue patterns. 3 pieces receive definitive confirmation as MH370 components. The fragments prove the plane ended in the ocean. They do not reveal where the bulk of wreckage rests. Each piece washes ashore like a message from the deep, but the main wreckage remains hidden. Families demand answers from Malaysian authorities and airline executives. Why did the transponder stop transmitting at that exact moment? Who turned the aircraft away from its flight path? Investigators examine every radio transmission and radar blip. The cockpit voice recorder and flight data recorder remain lost on the ocean floor. Without these black boxes, the truth stays hidden beneath thousands of meters of water. Satellite engineers analyze the Inmarsat data with unprecedented scrutiny. The handshake signals create arcs of possible flight paths. Scientists calculate fuel consumption and aircraft performance parameters. Complex mathematics narrows the search zone to specific coordinates. The 7th arc becomes the focus of intense investigation. Experts debate wind speeds and autopilot settings. Every calculation attempts to pin down the final resting place. The numbers suggest a location, but searchers find nothing there. Investigators explore numerous possible causes for the disappearance. Mechanical failure could explain a sudden, catastrophic event. Fire or decompression might incapacitate the crew quickly. Experts examine the plane's maintenance records and service history. The Boeing 777 has an exceptional safety record. This particular aircraft shows no warning signs in its documentation. Engineering analysis finds no obvious technical explanation. The evidence increasingly points toward deliberate human action rather than equipment malfunction. The investigation turns toward the people aboard Flight MH370. Captain Zaharie Ahmad Shah has 18,000 flight hours of experience.
First Officer Farik Abdul Hamid is younger and less experienced. Investigators scrutinize their backgrounds and personal lives. Zaharie owns a home flight simulator with detailed routes programmed. Police examine his computer files and flight records. Some routes on the simulator track south into the Indian Ocean. Investigators believe this may indicate intent, though it could merely represent practice scenarios. No evidence surfaces of psychological problems or financial troubles for either pilot. Both men appear stable and professional in the weeks before departure. Background checks on passengers reveal no terrorism links or suspicious connections. The cargo manifest contains lithium batteries, but nothing obviously dangerous. Investigators find no clear motive for hijacking or sabotage. The mystery deepens with every failed lead. Why would anyone deliberately fly a plane into remote ocean? Alternative theories emerge from amateur investigators and aviation experts. Some suggest remote hijacking through the aircraft's computer systems. Others propose a fire that disabled communications but allowed the plane to fly on. Military intercept scenarios circulate despite no supporting evidence. Wild speculation about meteor strikes and supernatural events spreads online. Serious analysts dismiss most fringe theories. The facts support only a handful of plausible explanations. Independent researchers examined every aspect of the flight timeline and radar data. Experts debate the significance of the transponder shutdown timing. Some theorists point to political motives involving cargo or passengers. Others focus on insurance fraud or corporate espionage possibilities. Every theory requires evidence that simply does not exist. The investigation examines each claim with scientific rigor. Most collapse under scrutiny, leaving only the most basic facts. Someone diverted the plane deliberately. A critical breakthrough comes from detailed analysis of the flight path. The 2018 Malaysian Investigation Report states the controls were deliberately manipulated. Someone in the cockpit intentionally turned off the transponder and communications. The westward turn requires manual input from the flight controls. The plane did not deviate due to technical malfunction. This finding eliminates accident scenarios. Deliberate action by someone with aviation knowledge becomes the only logical conclusion. The report stops short of naming a specific perpetrator. Investigators cannot definitively prove who controlled the aircraft during those final hours. The evidence suggests pilot involvement but lacks absolute confirmation. Did Captain Zaharie execute a planned suicide, taking 238 innocent people? The questions haunt everyone connected to the investigation. Proof remains buried with the wreckage. The lack of answers torments families more than anything else. Parents age without knowing their children's final moments. Spouses grieve without bodies to bury. Children grow up with absent parents and unanswered questions. Support groups form among the families seeking truth together. They pressure governments and aviation authorities for continued searching. Annual memorials mark each passing year without resolution.
The emotional wound never heals without closure. Ocean Infinity announces a renewed search effort in December 2025. The company signs a $70 million contract, paying only if they locate the wreckage. Advanced robotic submarines will explore new areas based on updated drift analysis. Improved technology offers fresh hope for discovery. The search will cover 15,000 additional square kilometers of ocean floor. Families cautiously allow themselves to hope again. Perhaps this attempt will finally locate MH370. Aviation safety improves in response to the disappearance. Airlines now track aircraft more frequently over oceans. New regulations require enhanced flight recorder capabilities. Satellite monitoring systems become standard equipment. The industry learns painful lessons about communication gaps and tracking limitations. MH370 forces changes that might prevent similar mysteries. Progress comes at a terrible price. Researchers propose new technologies for locating the wreckage. WSPR enthusiasts claim their radio wave analysis pinpoints the crash site. Amateur investigators pore over satellite images, searching for debris fields. Computer models simulate thousands of possible flight paths. Every new theory receives scrutiny and analysis. Some lead nowhere, while others offer tantalizing possibilities. The search continues through both official and unofficial channels. More than 11 years pass since that March night. The families still gather and remember their loved ones. Investigators still review data, hoping for missed clues. The ocean keeps its secret locked in darkness and pressure. Somewhere on the floor of the Indian Ocean lies the answer. 239 people deserve to be found. Their families deserve truth and peace. More than 11 years have passed since 239 people boarded Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 and disappeared forever. Families still gather each year to remember loved ones who never arrived in Beijing. Ocean Infinity launches a renewed search in 2025 with advanced robotic technology that offers fresh hope of discovery. The Indian Ocean guards its secret somewhere in the deep darkness below. Those 239 passengers and crew deserve to be found. The search refuses to end.